Perfect. It's recorded. Yep, Corina, I might need to stop your video. There you go. All right, so good morning. Today we will go over chapter 1 today. Usually in the class I will explain things, the notes and everything, and then we look at examples. But chapter 1 is a very self-explanatory. I want you guys to self-read because it's all about explanations and definitions. So you can just go and read it, and I will go just straight to the example so you guys can work for it. Okay. So then when we start chapter 2 and onwards, we will go through page by page, line by lines in your notes. Okay. Just only for chapter 1, so that we will just go straight down to the examples here. So before we go down examples, I will show you about the syllabus. A little bit changed because I make a mistakes there on yesterday. So again, the change is right here. I'm going to close my video here. So the first thing changed is as you know that the final is on August 1st, not August 4th. I make a mistake there. And then now I found out where is the room is. So we're gonna meet in CBT 160 for your midterms and your finals. It is a computer lab. If you do have a laptop, please bring your laptop in so you can use your own laptop. If you do not have your own laptop, you can use the computer in the computer lab. Okay. We meet at 10 to 12 in CBT 160 in this case. What else do I need to say? I will recommend that don't come at 10 because if you are new to the college, you have no idea where is CBT 160 is. Central for Business and Technology, I think that's what you call CBT is. If you doesn't know where's the building, I recommend you to come around 9:30 so that you will find, as I mentioned, the college is big, and even if you found the building, it is like a maze, so it's kind of, you have to find where is it at. So I recommend you to come like at least 15 minutes early so that you will know where's the location at and where is in the building, where is the classroom at, because there's a lot of classroom in the building. So just you got time for that. And then I think once for the midterm, for the first test, and then the second test, the finals, you probably will know where is it at really by the time. Okay, so just a little side announcement here. Then does anyone have any questions about getting into my stat lab here? Because I have only, so far I saw 8 students been enrolled in this class, so I still have like 6 or 7 more of students haven't enrolled yet. So I don't know, it's very easy, and if you still need help and still need, I don't know how to get to enroll to this course campus here, my stat lab here.
Do we have any homework today?
No, there's no homework. As I mentioned, all your homework is due on Wednesday. Okay, just to point out, sorry. All your homework is due on Wednesday. Okay, there's no homework today. And there's no homework due tomorrow. So your first homework is due on next Wednesday. So if you look at
you said no homework, right?
Yeah, no homework. If you look,
homework, right?
yeah, if you look at the syllabus in this case, if you look at this, it says that the first week, these are what we're doing here. The homework is due on Wednesday, June 19th. So that which is next Wednesday. So all this is due next Wednesday. Okay. And then the following week is due on the following Wednesday. You got it? Okay. So no homework due. And you can also look at your course. If you go to the course compass, click under assignments, you will get all the homeworks due here. And you can tell that, as you know, that they're all due on Wednesday, but there's no homework due on this Wednesday. It is due on next Wednesday. That is the one. So start working on your homework. Do not wait. There are 5 homework due on next Wednesday. Okay, 5 homework due. And so you will ask me how long it takes you to do one section of your homework here. For the first few sections, probably 30 minutes to do one section, 30 to 45 minutes. As you progress down to the end, one section will take you around 45 to an hour. And towards the end, an hour or an hour and a half. So as I mentioned, the materials that we cover is getting easy first, and then slowly progress to get difficult. So that's why your homework is easy, 30 minutes to 40 minutes to do the first, first section on the first few homework here. But once it goes down, it will become 45 minutes to an hour and a half towards the end here. Okay, just so you guys know how long it takes you to do your homework. So again, make sure you spend your time. And don't forget, June 19th is a holiday. We don't meet on next Wednesday class, okay? I will announce it to you next week, so you will know that. So make sure you put it in your calendar so that those are the holidays, June 19th and 4th of July, okay? Any more questions, anyone? All right, so we will go over chapter 1 today. So as I mentioned, that go home and as I told you to go home and read chapter 1, and I mean the notes and stuff for that. All these notes that I have here, they all comes from the textbook. Okay, so that's the reason why that I read the textbook. I kind of summarize everything. Okay, these are important, so let me transfer everything into notes. So that's why when you read through this is kind of like summarizing what from the textbook. So they're all coming from textbook. Same, so do your examples. So all these examples is come from the textbook and also come from your homework. So when you guys do your homework on your online homework, make sure you refer to these notes because that will be something that that you'll be used. Okay, so we're gonna go through the 1.1, the first chapter in this case, the examples in this case. The example says that the first example says that determine, and every time before I start do this, I will have to teach you. Every time when you read the questions, don't just read the question here. Make sure you read the instruction. Okay, so this is something I have to teach you because every time when you see there is always an instruction before the questions. The instruction will tell you what the question is wants you to do. So if you just read the question by itself, you don't know what they want to do. So make sure you read the instruction first. Okay, very important. Okay, so like the first question is asking us to determine whether the given source has potential to create bias in a statistical study. What is the meaning of the bias? Bias in this case means that it is not random. Okay, bias means it is not random. So not random means that something and it's a very bad. So when you have a bias study, means it is a very one-sided study. So if you read through some of the words up there, some of the important, some of the ways that we study that is considered bias is called a voluntary response sample. This voluntary response sample is a biased sample. The reason why is a biased sample is because people voluntarily provide us data. So example of voluntary response sample would be like call in, when you call in to give me a sample, or when you have a telephone call in or a mail. So if you find out that when in your mail there's a lot of sometimes they ask you for a survey. If you mail it in, they give you $5. Those are all voluntary response samples. Okay, so those kind of samples, the data that collected is very biased. So usually we do not want them because it's not a good sample. Okay, so let's read the first question here. Is this a bias? Chocolate is rich in flavonoids, and regular consumptions of foods rich in flavonoids may reduce the risk of coronary heart disease. So the study received funding from Mars Inc., the candy company. Now, as you guys know that they say that chocolate is very rich in flavonoids, and if you eat these flavonoids, it will reduce the coronary heart disease. So what they want you to do is they want you to eat more chocolate because it will help you to reduce your heart disease. And this study is received from Mars Inc. Now, you know that Mars, the Mars is the one that produced M&Ms and all those chocolates, candy bar. It's a candy company. Is this a bias or is this a bias study here? Or is this not bias? So this study is a bias study. The reason why that this is a bias study is because this is what we call this as a self-interest study. What is self-interest study? The self-interest study is because that the company is trying to sell their products. Okay. So what they do is they do their own study, and they don't want the negative, they want the positive. If you say, "Wow, don't eat chocolate," and so from a chocolate company, they will lose business. So that's why they do their own research or own study and saying that eat more chocolates, right? Because if you eat more chocolates, the company will earn more money. So that's the reason why that this is a very biased study here. Another self-interest study is like secondhand smoking. Okay, because we really know that secondhand smoking is a very bad for the people who don't smoke. We can get those people who don't smoke. If you go to the people who smoking, we call it secondhand smokers. We will get lung cancer, we get a lot of stuff. And then if the study is done by cigarettes company, they will refuse. They will say, "Oh, no such thing. The secondhand smoker is it doesn't affect smoking. Smoking doesn't affect secondhand smokers." So that is untrue. So because the reason why is it's self-interest study, because they want to sell their products, they want to sell cigarettes. So if they say, "Oh yeah, secondhand smokers will cause you cancer," no one will buy cigarettes. So that's the reason why no. So make sure you guys know that if some company is trying to do the study and try to promote what they're trying to sell because they don't want the negative, they want the positive, that is what we call as a self-interest study. And again, a self-interest study is also another bias. So it's beside voluntary responsibility. Okay. Question number 2. Determine whether the sample method appears to be sound or is it a flaw. Sound means is not biased. Okay, that is the meaning of the word sound. Flaw means it is a bias. Okay. Now, not what is considered sound. Okay, so not biased. You have to have this one keyword, random. Okay, so in order for you to have a not biased sample, make sure that you have the word random. If you have the word random, that will take care of that means the method is a sampling method is a sampling method. So what is random what is mean by random? So if you kind of read through the words here, this right over here. So that's why we call it random sampling. What is random sampling? A random sampling is where right here, as a random sampling, is where members of the populations are selected in a way that individual members in the population are selected equal chance being selected. So it means that if you pick people randomly, means there are equal chance being selected. What is considered random sampling in this case? One of them is computer generate random sample computer random generator. Okay, so that means that you call a computer to randomly pick people out. So that is one way. Or draw names from hat. This is the easiest way that to consider random here. If I want to pick you guys randomly, I will call you guys to put the name in the hat and I draw you guys out. And I think there will be a random sample. For smaller sample size, like I got 20, 30 students, I will put your names in your hat and I'll draw the names out. But if I have a large population, like let's say I want to figure out the election in November here, I got millions of people in the election here. So how do I pick people randomly? I will call the computer randomly generate a list of it. Okay. Yes. If you go to any website, you just put a random generator. they will have a random. So they will call you what is the minimum number, one, what is the maximum number. So that means you have to label the people from 1 to 1,000, and then you randomly generate. And here, so you pick the 933, whoever in the 933 names, that will be the person that you pick and you call that fellow. Okay, so yeah, that is this is the most basic one. So random number generator, this is the most basic one. So this is considered random, and if you do this, that will prevent you having unbiased, and unbiased is a good sample. Okay, so that is what we call, or sometimes we call it as sound. Okay, so let's read the question here. A survey of 721 subjects involved by providing of personal information when using Wi-Fi hotspot. The survey subjects were internet users who respond for a question that was posted in an electronic edition of USA Today. USA Today is a newspaper. Those people who doesn't know what is USA Today, is a newspaper. So these are something that I will point out to you guys in the test. So in the test, if you read some questions, if you read the questions, if you don't understand the word or you don't understand what it is in the question, you can always ask me. Like, David, what is sound? What is flow? I can tell you, or sound means it's not biased. Flow means it's biased. I can kind of help you to translate, or I'll be your dictionary telling you what it is, but I cannot tell you, David, is question 2 biased or not biased? No, that I cannot tell you that test. Okay, so in the test, when you read any questions, you have any question, any words that you don't understand, just raise your hand and let me know, and I will swing by and ask you. Okay. Now, how do we know this is a flow or this is a sound sampling method for this question 2? Again, you kind of read through it again and look for the word random. Okay. So unfortunately, there is no word random in this case. So this is a flow. Or in other words, this is a bias. Okay. This is called voluntary response sampling. Okay. Why this is called voluntary response sample in this case? A voluntary response sample is where the internet user respond to the question, means you respond to it. That means you voluntarily respond to me. So that is a voluntary response sample. Okay. So if you read again a little side here, this is called a voluntary response sample, which is considered biased here. Is the respondent themselves to decide to be included. Internet posts, mail-in posts, telephone call-in posts. Those are what we call as a voluntary response sample. The one that we just did is an internet post. I think you guys kind of, if you go to YouTube or something else, you sometimes pop up, they ask you for survey. So do not participate in the survey because it is a biased sample. Okay. So that is called voluntary response sample. So that's why this question number 2 is a flaw or bias in this case. In question 3, same thing. In a survey of belief about evolutions, Gallup posted randomly selected and telephoned 1,018 adults in the United States. This sampling methods in this case is considered sound because of the word random. Okay. So so this is usually how I teach my students when you do your tests or your homework, is read the questions and pick up the important keywords. Like as I mentioned, like this case, the keywords is random. So if you see the word random in this case, means this is a sound because of it is random. Okay, so this is what we do. Okay. Anyone have any questions so far on the first 3 questions?
So
Right?
if it has a randomly selected survey in there, that's a biased
No, that is sound. That's not bias.
Oh, if it's randomly selected, that's not
Yeah, the
biased.
word random is right down here. If you see the word random, it is sound. It's not bias. Yep. Now, question number 4. Determine whether the results appear to have statistically significant, and also determine whether the results will have practical significance. So this question number 4 is asking for 2 things. One is called statistically significant, and one is called practical significant. Now, these are two different significant. Again, if you do not know what is statistically significant or practical significant, it is right over here. So this is what it means. So let me go through that. So what is a practical significant? Practical significant is using common sense. Okay, so some treatments or finding is effective, but common sense might suggest that the treatment does not have make enough difference to justify its use or to be practical. So example in this case is if you have an Akin weight loss program. So 40 people use the program and has a mean weight loss of 2.1 kilograms after 1 year. Now, 2.1 kilogram is around 5 pounds. Okay. Now you find out that you lost 5 pounds in 1 year. Now, it is effective. Why the weight loss program is effective? Because you lose weight, but it is not practical. In this case, so it's not practical significant. The reason why this is not practical significant is because you only lose 5 pounds. So that means it's not enough or it's not big enough. So if you use your common sense, you will say only 5 pounds in 1 year, not 1 day or 1 week or 1 month. It's 5 pounds in 1 year. You find out that this is not practical significant in this case based on using common sense. Okay. Now, in the homework, in the test, I will give you a number that is very small, like here, 5 pounds. So you know that it's not practical. And I'll give you a big number like 50 pounds, about 50 pounds in 1 year. Using common sense, that is pretty practical significant in this case, because losing 50 pounds in 1 year is pretty good, pretty effective, and pretty practical in this case. So in the test, I'll give you either like way low number or way high number. I won't give you a number that is like 15 pounds or something in the middle. So then some people will use that common sense. Yeah, 15 pounds in 1 year is pretty much. And then some people say 15 pounds in 1 year. No, it's not that much. So I won't give you that number. So I either give you a very high or very low number, so you know that it's either practical or not practical. Same thing happens when you do your homework. So if I want to do 15 pounds, I'll do 15 pounds in 1 month or 15 pounds in 1 week. So it's very obvious in this case. So I'm going to give you something that is like, again, in the gray area. It's like, some people think yes, some people think no. Okay, so that is the practical significance. You use your common sense to figure out. And sometimes some people think it is practical, then you can always provide something to support it, like a definitions or discussion. Yeah, I think 20 pounds in 1 year is really practical for me. If you're, and then some people will also, so you can provide a sentence or two to describe or to support your argument in this case. Okay. And sometimes when I read your argument, if it's making common sense, it's true that, then I will give you correct. So that means that when I grade your test, that some of the questions is not just black and white, means correct or wrong. It can be gray in this case, means that if you support your answer, you might get a chance to get it correct. Okay, this is welcome to the world of statistics. That's why it's a little bit different from the algebra class that you take, because algebra class, you solve for x is 2. Has to be 2, cannot be 3, cannot be 4. But in the statistic world, if you say x is 4, x is 3, you can provide your a statement or a paragraph word to support your answer. And if the paragraph or the support is correct or is making common sense here, I have to give you correct. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a little bit different from math. Okay, but then sometimes it will be black and white, you'll be right and wrong. Okay, but mostly like in the first chapter, you can always argue about it. Okay, so this is the meaning of the word practical significance using common sense. Next is the statistically significance. Statistically significance is based on likelihood. Okay, and the likelihood in this case is very unlikely, means 5% or less. What is the meaning of the word likelihood? Likelihood in this case is probability. Okay, that means the probability or chance or probability. So those students who doesn't know what is a likelihood means, chance or probability. So the chance or the probability of getting a result is very unlikely. What is considered very unlikely? if your probability is 5% or less, then we consider statistically significant. Okay. For example, do you think today we will get snowing? What is the probability of we get snowing for today's weather? Is that very unlikely or very likely to get snow today?
Very unlikely.
So that means that so snowing to get snow, you're correct. So to get snowing in this case is statistically significant because we know the chance of getting snowing in this case is very unlikely. So sometimes if the question provide you a probability, make sure that number is 5% or less. This 5% or less, some students will ask me, David, is always 5. Can it be 10? Can it be 20? No, we always will use, yep, Corinne, you're correct. So so the 5% is a fixed number. So you will see it later on that we will stick with 5% in this case. We won't change it. Okay. So I'll give you another example here. Getting 98 girls out of 100 random births is statistically significant because such an event is very unlikely to happen. So let's say you go to the hospital today and you look at the nursery where all the babies are born. And you find out that out of 100 babies are born, 98 are pink and 2 are blues. Pink is girls, blue is boys. Chances of that happen when you go to the hospital and see 98 girls and 2 boys out of 100 babies, it is very unlikely to happen, like getting snowing today. Okay, so I mean, it can be, but very unlikely to happen. So that is the same thing. So if you get such thing, that is called statistically significant. But if you go to but 52 girls out of 100 birth is if you got for this random birth, then this is considered not statistically significant because 52 out of 100 is kind of like very likely to happen. That means yeah, it can happen. Nothing, yeah, it can happen. So if that thing can be happen, then it is considered not statistically significant. Okay, so so this is very important. I just want to point out to you here. If your probability, I just use short form here. Some students ask me, David, can I use short form in the test? The answer is yes, but make sure that the short form I can read or I can understand. Don't short form till so if your probability is less than or equal to 5%, okay, so this is considered statistically significant. Okay, if your probability is more than 5%, then this is not statistically significant. So what is the difference between practical and statistically significant? Practical is based on common sense. Statistically significant is based on chance, based on probability. Okay, that's very important. So make sure you guys know this. So when you look at question number 4 here, in order for you to look for to answer the statistically significant, make sure you look for probability. And if you want to talk about practical significant, make sure you use your common sense to look at the results. Okay, so this one is based the common sense on the results. So they will have a result. So I will tell you which one is the result and which one is the probability. So let's read question number 4 here. In a study of a Kingman diet and exercise program, 40 students lost an average of 22 pounds. Let's say I'm going to make it in a month. Okay, I'm going to further elaborate here. So these 40 subjects lost an average of 22 pounds in a month. There is about 1% chance of getting such result with a program that has no effects. So, so first thing is, the first line that you read here, let me underline this in red, in blue. This is results, because this comes from a result of from a study. Okay, and then the second one, I'm going to underline this in red or in orange. This is a probability, and why I say this is a probability is because it has the word chance. So can someone tell me, if I want to answer statistically significant, are we looking for the blue or are we looking for the orange one?
Orange.
Yep, that is correct. So in order for us to do the statistically significant, you're looking at the orange one. Is this 1%? Is that, it's a 1%, right? It's within 1%. Is that less than 5 or more than 5? 1% is,
Less than 5.
yep, I mean, I'll do that. Yep. Less than 5, so that means this is statistically significant in this case. Okay, so since 1% is less than 5, so in this case for statistically significant, this will be yes. Oops, put it down here. Because, pardon my spelling here. 1% is less than 5% in this case. Okay, so that's why you don't look at the blue one, you don't look at the results. So once you look at the results, you get it wrong. Okay, so that's why this is for statistically significant, we will do that. For practical significance, we will look at what? The blue one, the results. Now use your common sense and tell me, you lost 22 pounds in a month. Is that practical or is it not practical? Yep, good. Yep, I will do that. Emily, sorry, maybe mispronounced your name. Anyone? Which one should you look for practical significance? Should we look for the orange or the blue?
Blue.
The blue one, right? And now use your common sense, or use your is that practical for you to lose 22 pounds in a month?
Yes.
Yes. So in this case, for practical significance, yes, because it is practical, or in this case, common sense, to lose 22 pounds in a month. Okay. Now, some students will ask me, it's like, David, is statistical significant is yes? Is that always practical significance? Always yes. No, these two are totally independent. What do I mean by independent? Independent means these two are not related at all. That means you can ask yes for statistically significant, you can ask no for practical, or no and no, or yes and yes, or no and yes. That means that these two are not related at all. So don't look at, oh, this is yes, the other one has to be yes. No, no such thing. Okay, they are totally independent. So in statistics, we call that independent, means one is different from the other. Okay. Anyone okay here with these questions? Right. Question 5. Refer to the sample of body temperature in the table below in degrees Fahrenheit. So usually in the test, when you see me putting parentheses like this is the unit. I think you guys know that, right? So if you doesn't know what unit we are using, usually is found in the question here, inside the parentheses like that. Okay. So we got 5 people. We measure the body temperature at 8 a.m. and then at midnight. Those are the body temperature in this case. So in question 5A, is the body temperature recorded at 8 a.m. matched with the 12 a.m. Sorry, there is a typo here. Temperature. Now, what is written down here is the word match. Okay, So this is the word that we'll be using. I'm going to highlight this friend of yours here. You will learn this in chapter 9. Okay. So I'm going to put down for you what is the meaning of the word match. So you will know what does that mean. So the word match in this case means that for our statistic, it is considered dependent, or what sometimes we also call that as paired. Okay, so you find out that if you look at this, or sometimes, oops, sorry, one more, before, after. Okay, so you notice that this body temperature you have in this example, it is a match pair or match dependent or before and after here, is because that you measure the people twice, one at 8 o'clock and one is after 12. So that means you 8 o'clock will be the before and the midnight will be after. So you're measuring the same people twice. So this is yes. This is a match pair. Because I cannot spell today. The subject is people in this case. Are measured twice. Before and after. So you will learn this in chapter 9.3, actually way towards the end here, when we talk about match pair in this case, where people, mostly people measure record some measurements twice.
Do we have to show? Do we have to show work for these questions?
No. You do not need to. So because that question is asking, is this? So the answer is either yes or no.
We just answered them, right?
And the reason why I put a little bit more definite information here is because when you guys, for understanding why is yes and why is no, and but when you do your homework, you should be answered just yes or no. And the reason why I put more information is just to elaborate, to tell you why it's match or something else, so you know what it means. Okay. B, what issue can be addressed by conducting a statistical analysis of the data? So there are the only thing that I found out that's main problem in this issue is the sample size is too small. So you only have 5 subjects. Now, I just want to point out to you that usually 5 people is, you cannot really tell what's going on. Usually we need to have, usually this is kind of what you'll learn this as the sample has to be more than 30. Okay, again, as what I forgot, I don't know who the person asking. I'm elaborate things here so that the reason why is because you will so you know why, what's going on. The sample size has to be at least 30 in this case, more than 30 in this case, for you to consider good people or good sample size. So this, you only got 5 people, so that means the main problem here is you got a very small samples. Okay. The third one is asking us if we conclude that when the difference are found between the 8 a.m. temperature and the 12 a.m. body temperature, there is a 64% chance, got a 64 chance here, the difference can for the explain the random results obtained from the populations that have the same body temperature. Would this consider statistically significant? So
are these questions the same to us?
What do you mean by same to us?
When we go on D2L to access StatLab and Crunch,
the questions
are these the same? Are these the same questions that are?
I will show it to you once you finish this. It's gonna be a little bit different. It's gonna be, so instead of this, I will show it to you so you will see it. Yep. And yes, I will also tell you that everyone will get different questions. What I mean by different question is it is the same question, but the number is changed. Instead of 64, it can be 8, 12, so you get 12, I get 64, someone get 8, someone get 4. So that means everyone has a different number, but the questions is kind of the same. Okay. So in order for us to do statistically significant in this case, your chances has to be less than or equal to 5%. But since the chance we have here is 64%, can someone tell me, is this statistically significant for question C?
No, it's not. It's greater than 5%.
Yep. So it is not statistically significant because 64% is greater than 5%. Okay, so make sure you guys know some math symbol in this case. So this symbol means greater. So you can start using symbol like this in the test. So and make sure you know it's very important to know your symbol in this case. So that is how we do question number 5. Let me finish this 1.1 and then I'll open up 1.1 homework for you so you guys can take a look what's going on. So you kind of figure out, 6, identifying what is wrong for this question here. In a recent year, there has been a strong correlation, okay, between consumptions of alcohol and number of motorcycle killed in this case. Therefore, consumptions of alcohol causes motorcycle fatalities. I am going to stop your video here. So this question number 6 is asking us the word correlation. Now, what is the word correlation means? Correlation means association. That means kind of relationship. Okay, so we kind of know that, yes, that is an association between consuming of alcohol and people got killed in the accidents. Okay, that is true. But therefore, consumptions of alcohol causes motorcycle fatalities. So this is the big wrong. Yes, this is wrong because of the word cause. Okay, this is very important when you will learn this in chapter 10. So what we're doing here is I'm going to go through this. So in chapter 10, you will see this again. We call this as correlation does not imply causation. So what's the meaning when I say correlation does not imply causation? It means that although, yes, we know that, right? Consuming alcohol and people got killed in the accidents are really related to each other. But you cannot say this caused that to happen. It's because of lurking variables. Now, what are lurking variables? Lurking variables are variables that we didn't study in this case. We didn't study this, but it affects the variables that we study. So can someone give me another variables, another factors that cause people got killed in the accidents, in the motorcycle accidents, beside consumption of alcohol? Anyone?
What time they were driving?
Yep. So time. What time? Yep. Can someone also give me another variable? So, and someone mentioned something, I didn't hear that. Speed, taxing. Oh yeah. So okay, very good. So those you give me those variables. Those are what we call as lurking variables. Okay. So like the time, the texting. Yes, do not text and drive. You guys know that, right? The speed of it. Yes, very. So you give me a lot. Etc. Right? So those things will also cause motorcycle fatalities, right? Beside alcohol consumption. So that's the reason why that you cannot just say one variable or one factor caused that to happen. You have to list a bunch of it. That's why you don't use the word causes here. Okay, so that's meaning that although they have strong correlation, but you cannot say it's a causation cause. Okay, there are some other variables can cause it to happen. Okay, like what you guys mentioned. Okay. So that is the meaning of this correlation does not imply causation in this case. Okay. Again, you will learn all this in chapter 10. So a lot of stuff that you learn in this section is all coming in the future. Okay. Anyone have any questions so far? Right, next we go on to number 7. In a Harris pool of 2,302 adults, 14% say they have a tattoo. What is the exact value of 14% of 2,302? So the word exact value means that you have to be no rounding. Okay, so when the question asks for exact value, means you cannot round it. Okay, so in order for us to find what is the exact value for this case, you change 0.4, which is 14%. The word of means multiply. Now, this is a symbol for multiply in my keyboard. You guys know what the multiply symbol is. So what you need to do here is you have to take 0.14 times with 2,302. So I'm going to take out my calculator here. Yes. Please, class, make sure you get a calculator. Any calculator works here. And your calculator will be doing all this basic arithmetic, multiply, add, subtract, divide, squaring and, square root. So in this case, your exact value in this case will be 322.28. Okay, no rounding. Okay, so make sure you don't round this. So this is how we do question A. Question B, can the result from part A be actual number of adults who say they have tattoo? So can you have 322.28 people having tattoos in this case? Anyone? Yes or no?
No, it needs to be a whole number.
Yes. And now you can see, if I don't have the word why or why not, then your answer is just no. But since the question have why or why not, now you have to explain or elaborate because the number has to be a whole number. What do you mean by whole number? A whole number means that you cannot have decimals. Okay, that's the meaning of it. You cannot have a 0.28 people. Okay, so it has to be exactly whole number. We call it no decimals. So now the question is, what is the actual number of adults who have tattoo? So can you guys help me to round this number to the whole number?
322.
322. Okay. So again, I think you guys know the rounding, right? If it's 5 or above, you round up. If it's 4 or below, you don't round up. You just drop it. Okay. So make sure you guys know how to rounding. Again, if you have any difficulty about roundings, you have to talk to me after class. And also when you do your online homework, they are very picky. If they ask for 2 decimal place, make sure you put in round to 2 decimal place. If it's 1 decimal place, round to 1 decimal. So make sure you read the question really carefully how many decimal place it needs to be rounded. Okay, it will tell you in the question. And lastly, in part D, among the 302 respondents, 46 say they have face piercing. What percentage of respondents have face piercing? So we are doing how many have face piercing. So in order for us to do this question, you take 46 divided by 2,302 times 100%. Okay, so you take how many do have or by the total times 100%. So again, calculators to do this arithmetic. 46 divided by 2,302 times 100%. So this came out to be 1.998. So depends on how many decimal places you want to put in. If you give me 2%, I still take it because 998 is very close, can round up. So either you give me 2% or you can give me 1.998%. Now, make sure you guys know that the symbol percent is very important to us. Without the percent symbol, you will get wrong, okay? So 2 and 2% is two different numbers. I want to point out to you. So make sure you guys understand this. It's very important, okay? So, so depends on how many decimal places. I'm not picky in the test. So in the test, usually I want 2 or 3 decimal places. But if you give me 2 or 1.998, I still correct in the test. Okay. Again, there are quite a few homeworks due on this Wednesday, not this coming next week Wednesday. So on the homework that is due on homework 1.1 is due by next Wednesday, which is the 19th, June 19th. We have no class on that day. So so no homework due this Wednesday. Okay. Now I can give you, anyone have any questions so far before we move on to the online section homework? Someone will be asking. All right, so let me show you the homework here. So some of you asked me, is the homework very similar? Yes, as I mentioned that when you do your homework, like the one that we just did just now about the tattoo and the piercing one, is in question number 11 and number 12 here, which we did, you know, what is the exact value. So these are the stuff. I will say that, yes, most of the stuff that you learn here is like this is asked. Now, some of the questions I did not cover. I mean, there's no way I can cover 16 questions in the class. So some of the questions you have to figure out yourself. But then some of them, like the word statistically significant is right here, practical significant. So yes, I will tell you that, yes, the question will be there. Like this question is asking is bias, okay? I will answer the question, yes, this question sound or flaw? Yep. So again, I cannot cover all 16 questions here. I just pick and choose a few questions, 7 questions here to do in the notes, but the rest you have to self-learn it. But they are pretty easy. But if you have any questions that when you do your homework, please let me know in this case. Okay, very, very important. So I'm going to take attendance right now. So I want everyone, you guys know what to do, right? Present will be the good words that you type in your chat room here. So go ahead and go to your chat room and type thank you so much. You guys know what I'm doing. You guys do here. Taking attendance right now. All right, we're going to continue with 1.2. And I already told you guys, I still haven't got anyone notice yet. But if you guys need these notes, if you don't want to print out yourself, please email me. Please let me know, because the only thing is you have to go to school and pick it up the notes. And when I say I print out the whole entire chapter 1 to chapter 10. So you do not come to college every day. Okay, I will print out the whole thing, and then you just give me a few days to print out. Don't just like, oh, can I pick it up tomorrow? No. I'm gonna send it to the copy machine, so they might have to print out. So give me a couple days. Don't you know, so I'm still waiting for you guys. So make sure you guys if you guys don't want to print out the notes, I will print out the notes for you. Just, you know, give me a few days to get ready for you. Next is 1.2. So 1.2 is where we talk about types of data. So those are a few types of data we have: perimeter, a statistic, categorical, quantitative, discrete, continuous, and the nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Again, I would recommend you to read through the notes that I've written down in the D12 there, which I told you guys yesterday to do it. And so we're going to go straight to the examples here. Only chapter 1, I just want to point out, only chapter 1, I will skip through the notes and go straight to examples. When chapter 2 starts, I will go through line by lines, okay? Because chapter 1 is quite mostly all definitions. So the question number 1 and 2 asking us, determine whether the given value is a statistic or is it a perimeter, okay? Now, if you read above it, I will tell you that what is statistic stands for and what is a perimeter stands for. Statistic is where it is used by the word sample. So if a numerical number comes from a sample, then it is a statistic. For the perimeter, it's come from the population. Okay, I always tell my students statistics start with the letter S, samples start with the letter S, perimeter and population both starts with the letter P. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you here right now, class, is that how do you know it's a sample? Usually a sample, I give you a small sample size. Okay. For the population, I will use the word all. Okay. So when you hear the word all, then it is considered population, then it is perimeter. If I give you like 50, 100, 200, 320, that is a sample size. Usually it's a small sample size. Don't forget 500 is considered small. Okay. That is considered statistic. For example, is elections. So the perimeter of the population here is all the voters. Okay, all the voters that are going to be voting in this coming November, that will be a perimeter of population. A sample size is I just call 5,000 people. That will be a statistics in this case. So we got a sample size in this case. So make sure that the keyword for perimeter here is the word all. The keyword for statistic here is a sample size. Okay, so just read through it and find a sample size. Let's read the first question and look for the keywords here. The mean atomic weight of all elements in the periodic table is 134.355 unified atomic mass units. Is this a statistic or is this a perimeter? So you can tell by doing the keywords, and this is the big keywords here. That's why I told you guys when you guys do my test or my homework, hunt for the keywords. These are the keywords we're looking for. So since you have the word all, so this is a population type, because always belongs to population. So this is a perimeter. This is a So again, looking for keywords here. Ryan measured the voltage supply into his home on 40 different days. The mean value is 123.7 volts. So again, the keywords here, you don't see the word all, you see the word 40 different days. This is a sample size. And since you only got 40, this is a small sample size. This is a statistic. That means this is a small sample size. Okay. So usually I will tell you as being a statistics. Yes. Yeah, good. Nathaniel, yeah. If you guys, want to study this, be my guest. And those students who do not want to study or want to do something else, you can go in and watch the video. I think I show you the videos on the textbook, right? So when you go to your textbook here, that's not your textbook, that's your homework here. Forget what happens. Sorry, my textbook. What happens? Okay. So when you go to the textbook, you go to chapter 1. So those who are asking how the ebooks work, this is the ebook here. If you go to section 1.1, remember the video presentation that I asked you guys to watch here? Those are, I will recommend. So if you want help, just watch the video presentation and they will go through this. Just watch this for 8 minutes. It's not that long. They will tell you what is, so I will go ahead and watch these videos. That will be something that I will be asking. So who is asking how your ebook here is under e-text. Okay, so click under e-text in your my stat lab and you will get yourself the ebook in this case. Okay, all right. So that will be something that I'll recommend you to watch. Okay. Next is given the values from a tell me is the value from discrete or continuous. So what is considered discrete and what is considered continuous? Discrete means that it is a numerical number, so it has to be number, but it has to be whole number. Okay, so that is considered discrete. Example in this case for the discrete type is it has to be a number of. That means that when I ask you guys your answer has to be a whole number. Remember the tattoo one that you guys remember that we did here? This is a discrete type. This is discrete. Why I say this is discrete is because you cannot have 0.28 people. It has to be a whole number, right? So if I ask you like number of people or number of people who have tattoos, number of pens you have, number of credit cards you have, number of sick days you have, number of siblings you have to give me a whole number. You cannot have a 3.8 students or you cannot give me 2.5 sisters, right? Or 2. You cannot give me decimals. There's no such thing, right? You cannot give. So those are what we consider as discrete. Okay, so those are what we consider as discrete. So when you guys read the example, make sure that you guys know that the number that you give it to me, or when I collect data, the number is going to be a whole number, cannot be decimals. Okay, but what about continuous? Okay, continuous is a little bit different because continuous in this case is a numerical. That can have numerical that can have decimals representation. Okay. What do you mean by numeric numbers that are data that is considered continuous? Example will be your weight, your height, temperature. Those are considered continuous data variables. So when I ask you how tall are you, and you say you are 65 inches tall, example. And I will say, are you really 65 inches tall? Can you be 65.1? Can you be 64.9? And if you say yes, yeah, I can be 65.1. Yes, it makes sense. I can have 64.9. Yeah, I know I'm 65. Just make things easy, right? So if you say yes to it, then it is continuous type data. Okay, so make sure you guys know this, very important. So because in chapter 5 in this class we will learn about discrete, and then in chapter 6 we will learn about the continuous type. Okay, so let's read some examples here. In a study of weight gain by college students in their freshman year, research record the amount of weight gained by random selected students. So they are talking about how much weight do you gain? Okay, so my question is the weight gain that you lost or you gain here, is it whole number or can it be represented by decimal? Anyone?
Decimals.
So you say you gain 3 pounds. Can you gain 3.2 pounds? Sure, right? You can gain 3.2 pounds. So that means since it can be decimals representation, then this is a continuous case. Okay, it can be represented by decimals. Okay. How about the fourth one? A manager records a number of Corvettes, okay, that manufactured each day of the car, each day of the production. And those students who doesn't know what is a Corvette is, those is fine. Raise your hand in the test. Raise your hand and ask me, David, what Corvette is. Corvette is a very expensive car, like Ferrari, like Porsche, like very expensive. Okay, so how many cars can you produce? Is that a whole number or can it be decimal representation?
Whole number.
So it has to be a whole number, right? It has to be a whole number because you can only get 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. You cannot manufacture 2.5 cars, you know. So so it's a whole numbers here. So since it's a whole number, so this is a discrete case. Okay. Now those students who wants to meet, set up your own little meeting either in school or in Starbucks or wherever you want to meet here. Please create create a little group here, and then you can talk among yourself, chat among yourself. I think you can can you guys chat with another person in the room? I think you can, right? So Nathaniel is asking for doing a little bit of group study here in the class. So if you want, please do so. And I will recommend that, I think you can do that, right? Yeah, I will recommend that go ahead and do that so that you can set up. And the best place to do it is in the library. You can rent a little private room to do a little your little group studying, and then right nearby there is a math resource center. You can, if you have any questions, you can go up front there and just get some questions. That I will say that the library will be the good place for it. You can ask the librarian to reserve a private room for you guys so you guys can study, and then after that you can just zoom straight to if you have any questions, either you can send me an email or you can go to the math center.
Could you go ahead and show us where the e-textbook is?
It is right in D2L in Math Resource Center. It's called e-text here. Do you see the e-text? Just click on it.
Could you click on it real quick?
Yeah, and then you go to, there's a lot of chapters, right? Chapter 1, and then section 1.1. Let's say you read 1.1. That's the e-text here.
Oh, okay.
See that?
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, click on it, and then you will get the e-text. And then, yep, it will pop up. And then, you can read through it. Yep, this is the e-text for 1.1. Okay, if you look at this, those are the videos. You can watch the videos. So it's embedded all these videos you can watch. And then you can move on to, you can read through the next page. These are all from the notes. So if you look at the notes, I get it from. Okay, so you guys go ahead and talk about, if you guys want to prepare for your. So these are all the ebook here. And then at the back of the section is your homework. So you can tell mostly all I get it from books. And then these are all your homework here. So once you see this blue little line pop out, so you will see all this homework comes in. So these are all the homeworks. And yeah, those questions, if you find out some questions here, those questions are like this. Remember the body temperature, the 5 people. It's from, I will tell you that this is mostly what we did in here is all coming up from the textbook here. So so these are your textbook here, your ebook. You guys all right here? Okay. Next, the next question we have is 5, 6, 7, 8. Determine the 4 levels of measurement: nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. And again, I'm going to go through what is this 4 level of measurement: nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. Usually I short form this by NOIR, N-O-I-R. N stands for nominal, O for ordinal, I for interval, and R for ratio. So I'm going to go through this so you guys know which one is which. For the nominal level, it consists of just names, labels, categories only. So that means that for a nominal data, it has to be a categorical type. Does anyone know what is a categorical variables? Anyone know what's a categorical variables? Or give me an example of a categorical variables. Anyone? No? Okay, no more. Categorical variables are variables that is not numerical, not numbers. So example for categorical variables is like gender, male, female. So usually categorical variables, it has categories, and you will choose one of those categories. Okay, gender is one of them. Male, female, you got a lot of genders, right? Non-binary and all those things. And another categorical variables is your eye color. Are you brown eye color? Are you blue? Are you hazel? Are you green? Something like that. And you only pick one. Okay, so those are called categorical variables, or questions that say answer yes, no, or maybe. Do you have a credit card? That will be a categorical variable because your answer is either yes or no. Okay, so for the nominal level, it has to be a categorical variables, but you can only have names, labels, and categories, and you cannot arrange this in order. However, for the nominal case, you can alphabetize it. Okay, so alphabetize, cannot spell that thing, something like this. Sorry for my alphabetize. I think so. That means that you can arrange. You can arrange it from A to Z. Okay. Example for a nominal type is a class list. Okay. So if I get a class list, let's say I get your class, this class list, and it'll be alphabetized based on your last name from A to Z, whoever's A to Z, then it is considered a nominal nominal level in this case. Means that there's nothing much we can do in this case because it's just a class, your class name list from just alphabetize it from A to Z. Okay. However, if you have an ordinal level is also categorical type, but this time it can be put in orders. It can be arranged in orders. So again, this is for categorical type variables in this case. Example will be like the top 5 students. So now, instead of doing a class list based on your last name A to Z, I will put in class name based on the last name. Okay, but now I arrange
would top 5 teachers also be a?
Oh, yep, anything that you have arranged in some order, yes.
Right.
Top 5, bottom, the lowest 5. So what we do now is we'll arrange this list or these names based on orders. And these orders has important information because we are arranging from top 5 or top anything, bottom 5, top 5 students, top 5 cars, top 5 movies, top 5 or top 10 music, songs, what you want to talk about. As long as you arrange these categorical variables based on some meaning, based on some orders, you're ordering them, you're arranging the orders, then you will get yourself an ordinal levels. This ordinal level is a bit more important to us because that will be something that we will be studying more. Okay, example is like when again elections, like presidents running. So like the Republicans, we used to have 30 Republicans try to run for the president spots. So we will only concentrate on the top 5 candidates, right? The rest is kind of, you would drop off, right? Drop out. So that is meaning. So again, that will be the meaning of the ordinal level. Okay. So these 2 are for categorical type. Okay. Then the next 2 is for quantitative type. So the interval is a quantitative levels where it is where I just point out it does at this level it do not have a natural 0 starting point. Now, what does it mean when I say it does not have a natural 0 starting point? Means that the number doesn't start at 0. Okay, so the number does not start at 0. It means you can start at any point you want. Okay, so this is for categorical type, so quantitative type. So that means the variable here is a quantitative variable. Does anyone know what is a quantitative variable? Examples of quantitative variables, anyone? Like what we just did before, quantitative variable is like number of cars, your weight, number of cell phones you have, number of height, test score. That means that the values in this case has to be numerical. Okay, it can be quantitative, it can be continuous, it can be discrete. Okay, so that's why so for the interval it has to be a quantitative variables, but it does not need to start at the 0 starting point. It means you do not need to start at 0. That means that usually it can be start at negative in this case. So any variables that can start on a negative scales, that it will be considered an interval case. Example in this case is year. Okay, usually we don't start at 0. Year 0, who know what happens in the year 0? Now it's 2024, right? So usually we start in the year 1900 or 2000, depends on, but you never start in the year 0. Okay. Temperature is the other one because usually temperature doesn't have a zero starting point because temperature can be what? Negative. Okay. So if you find out a numerical numbers that can be
We supposed to do
evaluated-
the first two homeworks, like the homework
I'm
for
sorry.
1 and 2.
There are 5 homeworks due on next Wednesday.
Next when is it due again?
Next Wednesday.
And just the first two
There
chapters.
are 5 homeworks due on next Wednesday.
5.
Yes. Yes. This is the summer class. We are short form in 8 weeks. Yes.
So we got five homework chapters due.
It's 5 sections. Yes.
Sections. How many
Yeah.
chapters?
Okay. Whoever this guy is, can you talk to me for me after class?
If I'll see if I have time. Yeah.
You're gonna find time. That's what I will
I'll
tell you
try,
right now.
yeah,
Because we
yeah.
have I think I explained to you guys on the first day of class how many homeworks. I will explain to you guys how many based on please pay attention or maybe rewatch something again because I already told you that these are the 5 homeworks that is due on June 19.
Oh, so section 1-1,
Yes,
1-2,
there are 5 sections.
1-3,
Yes.
2-1, and 2-2.
Yes.
Those are the sections or the
Yes.
chapters
Yes.
that
Yes.
we're
Yes.
going
Print out
over.
your syllabus. Print out your syllabus.
Right.
Okay. Right. So like years and temperatures, those are the one that so whoever that do this, can we talk after class, please? Yep. Yep. Give me 5 minutes. I'll talk to you privately. Next will be the ratio case. So for the ratio level measurements in this case, it is also quantitative type, but for the ratio case, it does start at a 0 starting point. What I mean by this ratio case means that 0 starting point means it is where you cannot be negative. That means 0 is where you start, and then it goes to the upwards in this case. Example of a ratio in this case where it started at 0 is test score. Because you know that test score, you cannot have a negative test score. The least you can get is 0, right? So that's why that is considered your ratio in this case. Your height and weight is also considered 0 starting point in this case. The reason why is because your height and weight cannot be negative. You start at 0 and it goes on the way up. So those are what we call as the ratio piece. So these are the 4 types of level measurements in this case. So these are the 4. So this question number 5 to 8 is asking about 4 types of level measurements. So the first one they ask us is companies that produce movies. So I always ask my students, is this a categorical type or is this a quantitative type? Because categorical, I put C on them, is for either nominal or ordinal. Quantitative type is either interval or ratio in this case. Okay. So can someone provide me the companies that produce me? What companies that produce movies in this case? Is that categorical or is it quantitative?
DreamWorks.
Yep, DreamWorks. Yep.
Is that one? Is that one of them? DreamWorks.
Yep, DreamWorks is one of them. Disney is the other one. So my question is, are they categorical or are they quantitative?
Categorical.
So these are categorical because it is not numerical. They are not numbers, right? Do we rank them? Again, rank means put them in order. So this is called ranking, where you put them in top. Are we asking for top 5 companies or just companies for this question 5?
Just companies.
Just companies. So there's no ranking involved. So if there's no ranking, that means we don't want it. So this is actually a nominal type. But if there is a ranking involved, like I want not just the companies, I want the top 5 companies that produce movies, then since you want the top 5, when ranking is involved, then it will be an ordinal in this case. So make sure you guys know between are they first figure out are they categorical or quantitative, and then the next one is figure out do you rank them, okay, for categorical types. How about question 6? the length of preview movies in minutes that are shown in selected cinemas. Now, this is the length of movies. So is this categorical or is this quantitative?
Quantitative.
So this is a quantitative. The reason why this is the minute, this is a length. So it's a numerical. How many minutes? 5, 10, 8 minutes. So now the question is, if you talk about quantitative, the main part is, does it start at 0 or does it does not start at 0? So
Yes.
So time starts at 0, right? You cannot have a negative time. I wish I can have a negative time, then I'll be forever young, right? So since the time does not start at 0, so again, since it does start at 0, so this is a ratio. Okay, so this is a ratio. Year in which movies were released, we know the years is also a quantitative type, okay? But year do not start at 0 because as you know that year, anyone know any movies made in the year 0? And you guys know there's no such thing, right? So, so it does not start at 0, so it is a quantitative, it is an interval case, okay? So, so make sure you guys know this. And the last one is the movie stars is rated, the movie Star Wars is rated 5 stars out of 5 stars. Now, since this is categorical, because you give them how many stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you begin to rank them because you give them 5 stars or 4 stars or 3 stars. When you start ranking the movies or something else, how many stars you give, this is actually the ordinal type. Okay, so I just want to point out to you here so you guys know the difference here. For the nominal, it has to be categorical, no ranking is needed. Okay, for the ordinal, it is also categorical variable where ranking is required. Okay, I'm gonna put underneath here. For quantitative, for interval, it does not start at 0. Okay, that is the interval piece. And for the ratio, it is a quantitative that starts at 0 in this case. Okay, so so make sure you guys know the difference between these 4 levels of measurements. So we mostly concentrate more on the ratio piece in this class and the ratio piece mostly. Again, it's your first statistics class. You will learn more later on when you go on taking more stats class. So this homework is also due on next Wednesday on the Juneteenth. Okay, as I mentioned, there are 5 sections of homework due on that Wednesday. That's the reason I told you, do not wait the last minute. All your homework is open from chapter 1 to chapter 10. Start working on your homework. That's what I will tell you right now. And this is, so I told you before, right? This is a summer class. Everything is twice the speed. We are doubling right now. Yes, we usually meet 16 weeks. We only meet 8 weeks of class. That's the reason why you get so many homeworks due on 1 week. Okay. All right, we're gonna start continue with 1.3 a little bit here, and we will end with now 1.3 is talking about types of data that we collect, how we collect data in this case. Again, I think, as I mentioned, I do not come up definitions in the test, and this sampling method is coming out in your test, in your midterm as MCQ. You guys know what MCQ stands for? Multiple choice questions. Yes, so we will have all this will be coming up. It's a MCQ. So again, as I mentioned, I do not come definitions out. I give you scenarios. What do I mean by scenarios? Like the example that you see here. So these type of questions you will see in your MCQ type. Okay, just want to put it down here. Midterm MCQ. Okay, so that means that I give you one of this question and A, is it random? B, systematic, C, convenience, D, certify, E, classic. You pick one of those. Okay. So we're gonna stop here because we're almost running out of time here. So so when you come back on tomorrow, we will talk about these 6 sampling methods that we have. There's more than 6, but these are important 6 sampling methods. And then we will tackle these 5 questions here. And because it's coming up in your midterm here, so please read the questions very carefully and which one is which. And I will tell you looking for keywords. As I tell you, I'll teach you how to look for specific keywords you're looking for. That is the most important piece in this case, right? So that's it for today. We're gonna stop here. I'm gonna stop recording.